Imagine you score a goal. The crowd explodes. Your teammates rush toward you. The atmosphere shifts instantly. But then, just as quickly as the celebration begins, it dies. The flag goes up. The goal is disallowed. Confusion, anger, shock. That moment is exactly what happened to Virgil van Dijk in Liverpool's clash against Manchester City. And now former Premier League referee Dermot Gallagher says something interesting. The officials have learnt from that moment, but what does that really mean? And why does it matter to football fans everywhere? Today we're breaking down everything that happened in that controversial moment, what the rule says, how the officials interpreted it, why Gallagher believes the referees changed their approach, and what all of this means for future decisions in the Premier League. So let's go back to the incident. Liverpool are pushing for a goal. Van Dijk rises perfectly, heads the ball into the net. It looks clean, it looks fair, but suddenly the flag goes up. The goal is ruled out for offside, not because Van Dijk was offside, but because Andrew Robertson, who was standing in an offside position, was judged to have interfered with the goalkeeper's vision. Robertson moved toward the ball, ducked under it, and the officials decided that this movement affected the goalkeeper's ability to react. Under the current interpretation of Law 11, even if you don't touch the ball, you can still be penalized if you are interfering with an opponent. That's the law, but here's where things get messy. This specific part of the offside rule is known as football's gray area. Dermot Gallagher himself said it. The gray area is too wide. There are no clear barriers like we have with handball. The decision comes down to the official's interpretation on the day. And in this case, the officials interpreted Robertson's movement as interference. Liverpool were furious. Fans were furious. Many of them felt the keeper wasn't actually impacted and that the goal should have stood. Liverpool even contacted the refereeing body for clarification after the game. But here's where the situation becomes even more interesting. After that incident, 2 other goals in the Premier League, in very similar situations, were allowed. In both cases, offside players were in front of the goalkeeper. In both cases, they appeared to be in the keeper's line of vision. Yet the goals stood. Gallagher pointed this out on Ref Watch and said something important. Last week Van Dijk's goal was disallowed. This week 2 goals were given. You could say everyone has looked and learned. In simpler words, the officials may have realized that the Van Dijk decision was too harsh. They appear to have shifted their interpretation only 1 week later. Gallagher went further, saying that if the officials wanted total consistency, all 3 goals should have been disallowed. But instead, they allowed 2 of them, which suggests they've recognized that the more acceptable outcome for fans and for the flow of the game is to let these goals stand, unless the interference is absolutely obvious. This raises a big question. Did Van Dijk's disallowed goal change how referees will handle these situations going forward? Gallagher seems to think so. He believes officials will now give more benefit of the doubt to attackers in borderline offside interference scenarios. Instead of punishing every small movement or minor obstruction, they may now look for clearer, more undeniable interference before disallowing a goal. But of course, that creates another problem. If the threshold has now changed, what does that say about the Van Dijk moment? Was it too strict? Was it a mistake? And how does that make Liverpool fans feel when they watch other similar goals get allowed only days later? This is where trust in refereeing comes into question. Clubs want consistency, fans want fairness, and referees are trying to interpret a rule that is far from black and white. These decisions matter. A single disallowed goal can change league standings, qualification hopes, manager pressure, and the entire mood around a club. When decisions feel inconsistent, clubs feel wronged, fans feel robbed, players feel confused, and referees lose credibility. Gallagher himself admitted that the interpretations vary too much because there is too much subjectivity in this part of the law. So what happens now? We may see the refereeing body issue clearer guidance on what exactly counts as interfering with a goalkeeper's vision. We might see more explanations released after matches. We may even see the rule tweaked in future seasons to remove some of the ambiguity. But most importantly, we may start seeing more goals like Van Dijk's being allowed to stand, because the officials now seem more lenient after the backlash. And that's why Gallagher's words matter. When a senior former referee says that officials have learnt, he is quietly admitting that something about the previous decision might not hold up under new interpretation. It suggests a shift, a realization, and maybe even a correction without openly saying it was wrong. So now it's your turn. Do you think Van Dijk's goal should have counted? Do you believe Robertson was actually blocking the keeper? Or was it just another case of overinterpreting a messy part of the law? Tell us in the comments, we want to hear your take. And if you enjoy deep dives into football's biggest controversies, make sure you hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.